This video is brought to you by Delta Dental.
Hi, my name is Mike Eckles. I'm the chef at Abode Fine Dining, a private chef company, and this is Virtual Intern Experience. I was always just posting things on my business social media, just trying to, get clients. I had about 700 followers when people from Netflix started seeing my food. So they gave me a call and said, hey, would you be interested in going on this show? I said, sure. And then the interview process was a lot. I had so many Zoom calls and resume forms and photos of dishes and all of this different stuff that I had to send them. I probably spent 5 hours a week for a couple months working on all this stuff for Netflix. But then I got on the show. They flew me out to Los Angeles. I'm in a warehouse living there for 3 weeks, just filming. It was a competition. But besides that, it was just cooking as usual, pretty much. And then when the show came out, though, everything exploded. My social media exploded. People were coming from other states to have dinner parties. People would come in from California, get an Airbnb here and have a dinner. It was wild. People flew me out to Mexico to do a pop-up restaurant. It gave us a lot of credibility and prestige to our regular clients, which was great, So I'm pretty happy about everything that went on at Netflix. I knew I wanted to cook, even in high school. I worked at a couple different restaurants. I started off just humbly washing dishes, moved my way up, worked my way through the kitchen. So I was ready for it by the time I got to college. It was called OTech in our county, in Oakland County. It's like a technical school for kids. So kids often go there when their grades aren't good. But I went there with good grades because I wanted to cook. And I'm like, why am I wasting my time learning about U.S. history or whatever other classes they had when I knew I wanted to cook? I knew what I wanted to do, so that's what I did. And in that school, it was great because they had competitions where you learned a lot. You could get free school. I got some scholarships through what's called Skills USA. It's a big cooking competition throughout the whole nation. So the resume definitely helps you get jobs at places, but really at the end of the day in cooking, it's show me what you got. So you'll come and you'll do a stage. So a stage is just like a job interview. You show up to the kitchen and then you just cook for free for a day. And that determines if they hire you or not. It's not like the resume matters, sure. It's really about can you cook? And then as you move up the chain, once you're executive chef, sous chef, they're going to start having you plan and cook menus. So say, hey, prepare us a menu in 1 hour. We want to taste it. Just like maybe a cooking show you might see. So that's really what it's like. I started my own business during COVID. And the reason for that was I was slaving away at the restaurant working 70 hours a week, always preoccupied with stuff. And then once COVID hit, I was working average workload, 40 hours a week. And I had all this free time. I said, man, I really like doing these dinner parties. I've done them for myself. I've done them for my friends in the home. I feel like I could do this. So, and then I kind of just put my business plan together little by little, made the name, made the website, got my social medias up, all that stuff, made my business plan. How am I going to market myself? I talked to people. Anyone who I knew who I thought could help me, I just went and reached out and said, hey, can you give me some advice? I have a list of questions for them, so I'm not wasting their time. That's really how I started. And in terms of the risk of starting a business, a lot of people say starting a business is like jumping out of an airplane and building the parachute on your way down. At least for me, that is so far from the truth. You can take a complete risk or you can have a very planned action and steps to those actions. So when I started my business, I had a second job and it was a prep shift. It was a prep shift at a restaurant and they always needed my help. So I could work there 60 hours a week. I could work there 10 hours a week. It did not matter. They needed me. So when I started my own business, I worked it out with them. I was like, hey, can I work for you just tentatively as I'm trying to start my business? They said, sure. So I worked for them full time for a couple months. And then the business kicked off and I never went back. I knew I could pay my bills. There wasn't a risk. I told myself, even if I fail completely, I can just go back to the restaurant and pick up where I left off. So really, there was not as much risk for me as for other people. Like this kitchen that I'm sitting in right now, it was a lot of money to get it up and running, but I did not do that initially. I definitely took my time, did stuff at some other people's homes and things like that before I was able to take a big investment. I would say the most challenging part of owning your own business is all the hats you have to wear, especially when you're small scale. It's like you have to do the marketing, you have to do the paperwork, you have to do the accounting, you have to do the payroll, you have to do every single thing you have to do, and no one really teaches you this stuff. I don't know if you go somewhere to learn how to do payroll or what a payroll company does or any of that, but you just have to pick it up, roll with the punches and learn as much as you can. I consulted a lot of old chefs for a lot of things. Obviously, I was good at cooking and I had to learn everything else for the business. I really think that the restaurant industry in general, especially fine dining, is just growing, especially in places like Metro Detroit, just because there's a lot of shows about them. People are interested. It's cool. There's like fire. There's like tasty food, delicious. Who doesn't like tasty food? So I really think that the media that's been circled around cooking recently, Gordon Ramsay type figures, is actually pushing people to go out and try new food more, which is great for guys like me. People are interested in what you're doing. Restaurants are opening every month and people are flocking to them. I haven't seen too many restaurants close recently just because people want to go eat. If I could go back in time throughout my career, I would probably try to spend a little bit more time learning before I jumped into owning my own business. COVID kind of gave me a jump start on that, but I would have liked to go to France or go to, some of these New York City for a little bit longer, some places like that to learn more about food. A lot of businesses have almost like a wall in between different employees. You have like the front of the house and the back of the house, or, you have the engineers and the guys actually putting stuff together, right? So you have all these different groups of people working at the same company. And something I would say is just to be considerate of them. It's easy for the chefs who work all day to get mad at the servers who walk in and make more money than them for way less work, right? But you know what, though? I've benefited a lot from making friends and relationships with the front of the house, because now I need them. I hire them sometimes, right? So they're definitely a necessity to the business. And just if people realize that, I think the whole thing just runs smoothly. When I started off my career, some of the best advice I got was the chef is always right. Even if your boss is telling you to do something that's like wrong, I'm not talking morally wrong. I'm just talking wrong for whatever you're doing. It's their restaurant, it's their business. You just got to say yes. And after I went to CIA in New York, I thought I was a pretty hot stuff, and I would try to tell my chefs like, no, we should do it a different way, and just got screamed at. So that's definitely some good advice. Is the boss is always right, unless they're going to compromise you morally, then don't do it. But anything else, just say yes and just do whatever they're asking you to do. Number one, work ethic. And I honestly think work ethic trumps all. You could be not the most gifted kid, but if you work harder than all the gifted kids, you will eventually surpass them. It might take a year, 5 years, 10 years. You will surpass all the gifted kids by work ethic, but also professionalism, dressing appropriately, showing up on time. My grandpa used to say, if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late, like showing up on time. It's such a little thing. Responding to emails. I know so many people who don't respond to your emails. I'm like, yo, I'm 20 and I'm actually able to go back and forth, and you can't respond to an email, or a phone call or whatever that is, just following up. And then also just networking. People say like networking is like the make or break. I don't really think it is. I really think if you're good at what you do and you work hard, networking just comes. People want to talk to you. People want to hire you. If you're good at what you do, you're going to meet those people. Just treating them right, talking to them, and treating people like how you would want to be treated in networking. For a lot of interns, I think some good advice is work experience is so much more important than that resume, guys. The resume is great. The degree is great. But really, have you worked that job? Make sure you're getting those internships before you graduate from school. I know a lot of people my age. I'm 28. I know a lot of people who could not find a job outside of college because they didn't apply for internships when they were in school. And it's like, if I'm a company and I'm hiring people, let's say I'm an engineering company, and I'm hiring engineers. If you have never worked as an engineer somewhere, you're so much less likely to get hired. Just because you have a degree that says I studied this in a classroom one time, they don't care. They don't care. You could have a law degree, but unless you're working for lawyers and learning how it actually works and how to go to court and how to fight for your clients, they're not going to want to hire you. So really just getting that actual real life work experience.
Thank you for watching. To learn more, check out virtualinternexperience.com.